everyone, I have a message for you again today, and today's message is all about your communication and your relationships with anybody. So could be with your intimate partner, could be with your family members, could be in your friendships, could be in your business relationships, whether you're an employee or a manager or a boss or whoever, right? I'm talking all things or all places where you have connection and communication with other people in your life. And it's all about, as you guys know, taking full responsibility and ownership over how you show up, right? And the kind of results that you're creating in your life. And when we look at our relationship dynamics, most of the time, where we can very easily see what other people may be doing wrong or where they can improve. But when we're in dynamic with them, it's very rare that we think to actually go, what is my co-creation of this experience? So it's gonna go a bit deep with this one. I hope that it serves you. But today's message is, if they aren't being 100% open with you, instead of just blaming them for being a liar or not being 100% open with you, how about asking yourself how you receive what they communicate with you? Okay, so this is really empowering. And you might have people in your life, you might be on the other side of that, and you might feel really uncomfortable with expressing everything that's going on for you in your world, because you just don't know how they're going to handle it, how they're going to respond to it. And a lot of times, when we're on that side of the fence, and we're fearful of communicating totally truthfully and honestly and transparently, it's oftentimes because we're working out our own stuff. We've got every single one of us has a lot to deal with on our own, right? We're all trying to work out our imperfections. And sometimes when you haven't fully worked out what's going on for you, the last thing you need at that point is to have somebody else's emotional experience going on about what's going on for you on top of what you're already dealing with, right? And so I see this time and time again in my coaching and also in my own life. Sometimes we just need to work things out for ourselves before we're getting to that point of communication. And sometimes that just means that, maybe if the other person was responding to the kind of information you would want to give them in a better way that didn't make it a bigger problem, then maybe you'd be more open, and you can think about that from the other side, right? So the other side is, hey, this person's not being totally 100% open with me. What's going on? Why I want a truthful connection with this person, you might say. But then that's one thing, and you've got to question that, and you've got to question the kind of person that you're in, whatever relationship dynamic you're in with them, and see that they have the same values and want to be open and honest and truthful with you or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you vetted that, and if you really deeply asked yourself, you're like, I'm pretty sure that is true for them, then you also need to look at your own contribution to the co-creation that is every relationship dynamic. It's not ever just one-sided. And so you can reflect back and you can ask yourself, when people communicate maybe or have a difficult conversation with me, how do I respond? Do I fly off the handle? Do I get angry? Do I withdraw and cut off? How do I operate when I hear things that might make me uncomfortable or might be difficult conversations to be had? And when you look at that, be honest with yourself, and ask yourself, if you were trying to communicate something difficult to yourself, if you're on the other side, would you second guess how much you were going to go there, right? Because you knew that it might create more problems than it was worth. And it's not about being dishonest, or it's not about condoning, not being 100% open and transparent. It's just that we need to look at all sides of an equation always before we hit judgment. And, and sometimes we need to just respect that people process things in their own time. And we need to, if it's different to us and how we would do it, then we just need to be respectful of that. We need to get and give people that we care about that space and that time and that whatever they need, and maybe just open the door and just go, hey, you know what? I get there's something that's been going on for you, or, but I just want to let you know my door's open. I'm always open and ready to have a chat with you when you're ready, in your own time, and if you are ready. And I think that's super important because, so many of us are running into this dynamic where who doesn't want truthfulness and honesty and transparency and authenticity and depth in their connections, right? You've got to be crazy if you don't want that stuff. But what stops us from having it, is there's a multitude of reasons behind that, and we've got to stop being so judgmental, and we've got to stop blaming another person for not showing up in a way that we want them to, and we've got to take full responsibility for how we receive things so that we can go, I kind of get it. I kind of get how maybe they don't want to communicate that openly with me because of maybe how I've responded in the past, or maybe they've had experiences where they have communicated and they've been shut down or whatever it is. You've got to be respectful to people, and you've got to be able to get outside of your own self. That is key. Shift perspectives. Stop seeing the world purely as you see it, and start being able to tap into other people's experiences. Be curious, and stop projecting onto them how you expect them to show up when you're not taking responsibility for being part of the equation. And if they're not being open with you in their communication, don't just blame them. Ask yourself, how is it that I receive communication when it's a difficult one and maybe I didn't want to hear it, okay? And take ownership and responsibility for that. And, make some changes if you do find that you are somebody who you wouldn't want to communicate a difficult conversation or have a difficult conversation with. So, I hope that this is of value to you guys. I hope that it's just got you thinking, whether it is right now you're maybe judging somebody else, or you're on the other side and you're like, I want to be more open here, but I just don't know how that person's going to handle it. I don't know if it's just going to create way more problems than it's worth, right? Start questioning those things. And then at the end of the day, always do what's right. If you really sit with yourself and you decipher and you get clarity over, in your heart, what is the right thing to do? We all know right from wrong, right? And the only thing that makes us do the wrong is fear-driven. So go about facing your fears, looking at, what is the work I need to do within myself to get to a place where I'm somebody who is courageous enough to be able to handle whatever the world throws at me. And I'm not going to let that sway me. I'm going to always step up and tell the truth and be open and be transparent. And on the flip side of that, just popped into my head right now, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, because I valued openness, transparency, authenticity so much, is to make sure that the people that you are open with and that you do express really deep and authentically with, make sure that you vetted them and that they are trustworthy people. And they've got your best interests at heart, because time and time again, it is a rude awakening when you do open up to people who you haven't first vetted and and find out that they maybe don't have your best interests at heart, and don't run that pattern. And if you have run that pattern in the past, don't be disheartened. There are great people out there who do have your best interests at heart, and people who are willing to take responsibility for how they show up in the world, and just go about becoming your best self and go about finding those people who are absolutely on that same growth journey. So I really want to check in with you guys. So make sure that you are dropping me any questions or comments or words of wisdom that you want to contribute to today's conversation. I'd love to check in with you guys. So make sure that you're saying hi, drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. I always appreciate that. As you guys know, I'm in beautiful Noosa, feeling totally at home here. Only moved up here a couple of months ago, but absolutely loving it. And I've got my beautiful auntie coming to spend the weekend with me. So I'm really pumped and excited about having some family up here. But let me know where you're from. So I've got Judy in the house and Edgar sending love from Chihuahua, Mexico. As always, you are so appreciated, my friend. Thanks for showing up. And Carlos is here, and Sanula and Matthew. Hey, hello to you, Matthew. And Con's here, and Nadun and Monk. Awesome. And Jeff's here, and Matthew, damn right. I'm loving that this was resonating with you. And Edgar, it's understanding that their mindset is different to mine, being empathic and authentic. I absolutely love that, Edgar. Totally. You know, too many times, you know, I think it's important that we're educating other people as to who we are, because nobody's a mind reader, right? When I say shift perspectives and get into their shoes and all this stuff, it sounds simple, sounds easy, but, you know, depending on how long you've known that person and how deep you've gone with that person, don't assume anything. You know, get curious and ask questions and educate yourself about that person, and educate the people in your life about who you are, what your needs are, how to treat you. You know, and that's just the journey of any relationship. But at the end of the day, don't project the way that you operate in the world onto anybody else. And if you're unsure, just ask, right? Curiosity is key. And but yeah, if you do have that ability to be more empathic and tap into what's going on for that person, you know, and you know, just show up. And you know, the greatest gift that you can give to anybody is that nothing can be wrong if they're being totally authentic. All right, when people are being authentic, don't make it wrong, right? You want people that you're in relationship with to fully be the full expression of who they are, right? So I'm not talking like fear-driven poor behavior and treatment, never condone that, but allow people to come to you and communicate openly and authentically to you, because you want to be the quality of person who, when people want to come to you and they want to communicate openly with you, and you want to create authentic relationships with them, and they feel safe enough to do that. Because if they don't, what have you got? A shallow relationship filled with expectations and fears, and it's pretty empty, right? So don't go that route, and make sure that when you know you are challenged and somebody has a difficult conversation with you, that you stay open and curious, keep an open mind, stop taking things personally, and realize that the more open and courageous somebody can be with you, the deeper your connection is going to go. So love that, Edgar. And William from Cypress in Texas. I love Texas. Awesome to have you. And Edgar, working on allowance and awareness about others. Awesome. And that's a great journey, you know, but oftentimes we can't be, you know, aware really of what's going on for others when we're limited in our awareness for ourselves. So, you know, that's part of the journey. You know, I started out on this journey as a relationship coach, because you guys know I love everything relationships. But at the end of the day, after a couple of years of coaching many couples, what I found was it doesn't matter what you tell a couple about their relationship and what relationship strategies they should use and this and that. At the end of the day, it always comes back to the individual's relationship with themselves, you know, and their self-awareness, and not just their self-awareness, but their self-responsibility. And, you know, anything, you know, if you're not willing to take responsibility, you're just playing the blame game, you're never going to win in the arena of life. Actually, I was going to say relationships, but you're just not going to win in life. The more responsibility you take on, and you take ownership of your co-creation of everything that you're connected to, then the more empowered you're going to be, the wiser you're going to be, and the more in control of your entire life you're going to be. So love that, Edgar. Love your journey, my friend. And Emma is here as well. And much love to you, Justin. So good to see each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for showing up and joining me live. I hope today's message has definitely served you. And just remember, if they aren't being 100% open with you, ask yourself how you receive what they communicate with you. Okay, take that responsibility on. You'll be so empowered. That's what this journey is about, empowering yourself so that you can go about living your best life. And my idea of my best life is to be able to empower myself so that I can empower others. Walk my talk. So hope this has definitely served you. And thanks again for everybody tuning in. And as always, I'm sending you guys all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I really do hope that it's beautiful, amazing, and extraordinary, that you're doing something super empowering, and today's message has definitely served you. And Matthew, live life on your own terms regardless of any adversities. Boom, drop the mic. Great way to end today's session. And thank you so much for showing up and spreading your wisdom, Matthew. You're so appreciated. So much love to each and every one of you guys, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.